VR has been growing in status, attention and, more importantly, customer install base over the past few years. Now, PC has long since been the only hookup to a fruitful virtual solution via the Oculus Rift and the Vive headsets, but Sony entered the platform in a big way and has since made the biggest splash due to the lowest entry cost, heavily subsidized marketing and incentivized software build-up. There are of course other options from mobile such as Gear VR, but the big three that offer the widest choice and scope are going to cost a few £100, euros or dollars to get you started. Now, I've used all three but currently only own the PSVR, which has one of the best screens, or more accurately optic solutions so far, alongside a good choice of input devices and motion control, although the other two have the clear edge on motion tracking. This is one area they can all improve, but Sony certainly has more to do. Gloves with fingertip tracking would be a huge step forward. With the sheer volume of content now on VR though, I thought it would be good to suggest some of my best choices to dip your toe into VR with my top 3 games or experiences I have enjoyed over 2017 on the Sony platform, and recommend as great choices to get a feel for this exciting new dimension. Now, the choice and games on offer here are merely a small sample of what you can get, with even more on PC, and these choices, options, titles will grow as the buzz continues. VR really has the chance to reset the gaming landscape and is something you can only truly appreciate when you've tried it yourself firsthand. You can escape into the most engrossing and immersive worlds, adventures and locations you will ever see outside of the real thing. From sitting on a remote beach or exploring an adventure with a giant cat-type bird with your pet Trico, this was a personal highlight in terms of scale and sheer engrossing fun. In the game you can see the sheer size of your feathered friend, but in VR you really get a sense of it, and like many titles and demos, they're free. Again, a hark back to the early days of CD consoles when demos were everywhere, on magazine covers, packed in with games, or even ordered via post. With the marketplace being filled with samples of games and cheap costs on some, you get to try out a great chunk of these for little to no extra cost. This, like so many others, also highlights another huge benefit of VR. You can experience things that feel real, but you could never really do them in real life, as they are either impossible, improbable, or simply do not exist. Now, sickness and other brain-related effects can and do still occur, and this will depend on the title, the individual, and the length played. Short bursts are always the best and my recommendation, but it's entirely up to you. Many games work around with this, certain travel options in the games, and if you can do anything in 2018, then try out VR, just so you can get a sense of what it currently offers, just how exciting it is now, and how much more it will be in the future. One of the big success stories this year is Ready at Dawn's Rift exclusive Lone Echo, and even though I'm still trying to secure a review of the Rift or even the Vive headset itself, this would be a title I am sure I would have on my list, but without playing it myself, it remains a treat yet to taste. And we've had so many other cracking games or experiences, such as the Battlefront X-Wing mission. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you'll love it, as you fly through an Empire Strikes Back meteor shower or have a battle with a Star Destroyer as you look out of your fully modelled cockpit, a phenomenal free treat for Battlefront owners. The reset also includes taking old arcade popular games such as Duck Hunt or Virtua Cop, or Time Crisis and the later handheld light guns at home, but adding a great deal more excitement and involvement. Arizona Sunshine is one such title that I really enjoyed playing, having that feel of an older arcade blaster. Now, others are more akin to the on-rails type, such as Rush of Blood, or a mixture like Raw Data. Now, you can go from a deserted space station that is overrun with infected crew in a roguelike permadeath in Persistence, to helping and controlling a mouse within a world that takes you back to a child. In the garden, one eye squinted as you play with your toys. Electric tracks that go underwater, popular style when you can get right into the action, and even some addictive space-located strategy games, harvesting resource, building defences and fighting enemies in the cracking Corrix that includes online multiplayer. You can check out more of this and many other VR titles I have covered in the links below or on my website. It can even add a fresh experience to games that you have played for years, taking on a whole new aspect in VR. The choices right now feel endless, and they will only get better. But I need to dwindle it down and focus on just 3 games that I played, enjoyed, and recommend the most at this point that deliver a variety of stunning and lasting VR experience. So, after testing many of these over the past year, here is my top 3 PSVR titles of 2017 that show the possibilities and the scope of the hardware and platform. Now, this is a familiar taste of VR that anyone in the real world can relate to. It does, or at least can, be high on sickness, but for a taste of just how VR can transport you, this is a big winner. Sacrifices do come, car counts being obviously the highest cost. Having another 2 or 3 would make all the difference, but you can race on an empty track or battle with another car. And if you recognise the tracks or have actually raced on them, some of them anyway, which I have, then it does give you an even greater respect for just how superb it all is. How many people would go out for a flying lap around the ring for real, but in GT Sports and VR, you can strap yourself into a Porsche, a Ferrari or other such exotic car and experience as close to that as possible, and that makes it more than worth the price of entry. Using the Pro to boost the quality also helps sell the dream, and for a first racing VR experience, this is one of the best. If you are interested in looking at more of this title, you can check out my detailed analysis on it in VR between the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. Link is on screen and below. Being able to see and explore these places as you would for real makes everything far more believable. Peering around corners, aiming with your own 2 hands, throwing horror, scares, creepy areas and gore that is right in your face, and 2D games no longer seem scary anymore. Almost. Resident Evil 7 is a great first taste of this, and it does all these things and much more better than most of all the others. And in VR, the balance is excellent to keep the intricate character details and scale, which is the biggest boost. Talking to people in the game or running from them, it all feels uncomfortably real. This also means the impending sense of doom and panic is only elevated further. Battling with enemies, hiding from creatures or running and reloading, it raises the panic meter to the max and leaves you with an experience you will love and hate in equal measure. The game has been tweaked slightly to work better in VR, but the entire single player and DLC can be played in its entirety, and it works best if you play it for the first time in VR. For a horror movie jump scare classic, this will take some beating. The slow pace and detail on offer is visually also one of the best looking titles on the platform at the moment. Sumptuous.
Do I have your attention, boy? You're about to see something wonderful. Whoa. Fuck!
Games would not be as popular if they did not have you feeling like a total badass, and Superhot VR has got that down to a T. Mixing action with the Matrix, the play on movements is a genius touch. Time only moves when you do, so you can dodge bullets, grab objects, and move like a god in this action fest. The more you move your limbs and objects, the faster time passes. Now, nothing feels quite as cool as punching a guy, grabbing the gun off the next, and shooting him. Then as he drops his gun, you grab it mid-air, dual-wield, and shoot the rest, before taking swords, knives, or shurikens, and taking off heads as you lean out of the bullet's path or around doorways or lifts. Speed runs, hectic battles, and a strong grasp on the theatrics of it all. This is one of the most fun, exciting, and genuine laugh-out-loud games you will play in VR. A whole new game compared to the standard one in VR. It is something else, and as a party game, it takes on a whole nother avenue. It is simple to pick up, easy to learn, but just as easy to mess up on. One of the best VR games I have ever played, and always left a smile on my face and others whilst playing it. But these are merely a sample of just what VR can achieve, and if you have a PC and want to get into VR, many of these are also on that format. The choice is huge, and the options seem almost endless as to where it could go. Yes, of course, the elephant in the room is pornography. It's also a high reason many have and will get into this. But that medium itself has long since been a driver of new technology. From DVD, Blu-ray, even the internet itself has some thanks for this to pushing it forward. Now, although it's not for me, it does show at least that VR has something for everyone. Enjoying a stadium event, jumping out of a plane pilot wing style, or becoming Keanu Reeves, for example, that includes non-gamers. I have had more people this year use my PSVR and enjoy it that have never even been into gaming at all, and this only widens the appeal of gaming as a whole, and that can only certainly be a great thing. And as always, if you guys and girls enjoyed this, then please like, subscribe and share where appropriate. Leave all your thoughts and feedbacks below. Have you played VR on this, on PC, on any other headsets? I'd love to hear what you guys and girls think. You can also follow me on Twitter and chat to me there, and also read more about this and many other subjects on my website. And if you want to support the channel, you can also help with my Patreon account. The link is below and on the screen. But this is still my last video now, as I move into a break away from the channel to try and rethink my strategy and my plans going forward. Please don't worry, I will be back in some form or other to at least update you, but for now, I'll probably see you sometime in February for the next video. But I do have plans to do things going forward. I just need to find out whether or not it's worth all my time and effort. You guys and girls take care, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.